Hello guys, Michael here with another video. So if you are dating someone and your date are taking you to her friends, all right, that can be both men and women, how are you going to behave? Because one of the things is that you want to do a great impression. You see, it's sort of a test of how you can act in front of other people. So I bet that you have been very nervous and very insecure of how you can handle, her social circle. And obviously, if you're just dating with her and you have not really made anything out of it yet, you're not in relationship with her, you feel like a lot of things are in stake, right? So what are you actually going to do here now? How are you going to become popular amongst your friends, all right? So here comes, strong tips based on the science of interpersonal communication. You are going to be very curious about her friends, all right? Every single one of them. You're not going to say so much about yourself, or you're not going to tell them too much about yourself in a long fashion. Like you're going to, rambling on and tell them about what you think about this, what you think about that, and blah, blah, blah. No, every time you're going to talk about yourself, you're going to keep it short and concise. All right, short and concise. If they want you to tell something about yourself, try to keep it in 1 minute. And then you're going to roll over the ball to a single dynamic and a group dynamic. The single dynamic is you're going to ask that particular person a direct question. Oh, by the way, I'm just curious, what do you think about working with, maybe let's say that person is the working friend of your date. What do you think about working in the company that you both working on? I'm just curious. What would you say is the best thing at that work? Or what would you say is the most fun thing to do here in this town since you're living here? You start asking questions and be very, very curious about the other person. That is going to make them really love you because you take an interest as an explorer to discover the unknown in her social circles, friends, and people. It's an amazing tactic to use. And if you go into a group dynamics, then you can just say, oh guys, by the way, I'm very, very curious since you're all coming from this place here. What would you say is the best thing to do on the weekends here? I'm just very curious. Start with you. Okay. And then what you say about that? Okay. But when you say something about bowling, is that some kind of a bowling competition going on in this town? And blah, 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 blah. And what about you? What do you think about bowling? Or do you have anything else in mind? You start rolling like that, being curious about everyone, being curious about what they think about things and about their lives and their perspectives. If you start with that as a foundation, you will always do great. People love to talk about themselves. They love to explain to you what they think about this, what they think about that, about their opinions and so on. Works amazingly. So I want you to take that with you because it's not easy to go completely unprepared, not knowing what your mindset is going to be when you're talking to new people in your date's social circle. And it's very, very easy that you are just talking about things that you don't even know what you're talking about. And it becomes too long, it becomes too boring. And sometimes you go on the opposite direction as well. You don't say anything. So you're just sitting there being completely quiet, trying to listen, but you can't really listen. And then you're just there as a statue, sitting there as a statue. Feels horrible, right? So those tips are just simply amazing. It truly is. Many times also is that you have to use, it's almost like the same approach when you are single and you want to go and date a woman, for example. It's almost like the same approach, but here is more in a social dynamic, all right? But still, you have to relay back, you have to reflect back, you have to use a couple of empathetic tactical tools, such as labeling and so on. You're using, empathy in communication in order to make it interesting, all right? So even if you are talking with people that you don't have any romantic interest with, for a guy, for example, you still are going to use a lot of empathy because you want to understand people's perspective. As long as they are talking about their perspectives towards you, you can be really, really successful with people. I mean, even today, I'm so unbelievable surprised over the power of making people talk and how they feel when they are talking, especially when you're taking it to depth, because every time when people talk about their perspectives, it becomes in the depth and they just love it. And when they go home afterwards, they will just start thinking about life. Wow, this guy was amazing. I felt great with him. I like to talk with him. And then he would more or less endorse you. It becomes like that. I've seen that over and over again. Me, I'm Asian, right? I was born in Sweden, but I'm Asian. And I've been dating women that has been in this really, really ethnical Swedish atmosphere, all right? So I think that I had a disadvantage when it comes to the first impression just by looking. It's like, oh, so this blonde girl is dating an Asian, not a Swedish. That's interesting. All right. And then suddenly they might start with a negative judgment in the beginning, but as soon as I just open my mouth and I just start being curious about the other person, I start being curious about her, him, and that person, and this person, and that group dynamic, everyone just simply loved me. They just love me, all right? And that's the secret of all this as well. It's like people love you when you're curious about them. They're not going to love you so much just because you are saying your thing. You see, you should not say your thing. You should make them say their thing with you being super curious and interested. That's the key. There was one guy, I don't remember where I read it, but there are two different kinds of people here, okay? So you have one guy that might be an amazing storyteller and a speaker, all right? And then we have another guy that can do something else. So let's start with the great guy being great in expression. He goes and he have to talk to a very important person. I think it was even Princess Diana or something. But he was supposed to go and talk very well with someone famous. And he did his thing. And the other person felt like, wow, this guy is a very smart guy, a very competent guy, and I just simply amazing person, all right? Intelligent, humble, great entertainer, and so on. So it was all good, all right? Then the other person came, that actually one made an influence. And when he did his thing, that same person didn't feel like he's the smartest person, the nicest person, and all that. No, but that person felt like he was the smartest one instead. You see? So that, like for example, Princess Diana felt like she was the smartest person in the world. She was the most interesting person in the world. And that made a much stronger impression than Princess Diana thinking that the guy was the smartest guy in the world. Is much more important if you can instead make Diana to feel like she's the most interesting, intelligent person in the world. So I hope you get the idea. Anyway, leave a comment in this video and I'll see you in the next one.